Hello all and welcome to the Department of Physics of KTHM College Nashik and KTHM e-learning YouTube channel. I am Professor Sneha Bua. I am teaching you subject Mechanics and Properties of Matter. Chapter name Fluid Mechanics. Today's topic name is Bernoulli's Principle. So today's topic of the lecture is Bernoulli's Principle. Bernoulli's equation is a fundamental relation in fluid dynamics. It is not new equation, but it is derived from the Newton's laws. This equation connects pressure, velocity and height of the fluid at various places. Now to study Bernoulli's principle, we are going to consider the diagram which you can see on the screen. I have drawn here two diagrams. There are two parts of the diagram, that is part A and part B. So what are those diagrams that we will see now? Now, to study Bernoulli's principle, we have to consider a steady, incompressible, non-viscous and streamlined flow of a liquid through a pipeline or a tube of flow as shown in the figure. Okay, you have to remember this. For Bernoulli's principle, we have to consider a steady, incompressible, non-viscous and streamlined flow. Now all these words, what is the meaning of steady flow, incompressible fluid, non-viscous fluid, streamlined flow, all these things or all these terms we have studied in the previous lectures. For that you should see the previous videos of this chapter. Okay, so consider steady, incompressible, non-viscous and streamlined flow of a liquid through a pipeline or a tube of flow as shown in the figure. The portion of pipe has a uniform cross-sectional area A1. Okay, the portion of pipe has uniform cross-sectional area A1 on the left hand side. So this side is having cross-sectional area A1. Now it is horizontal there and it is at a height H1 from some reference level. It gradually widens and rises to the height H2, as you can see, as you are going from left hand side to right hand side. Okay, the cross sectional area of this tube at left is A1 and it is at a certain height from the reference level, that is H1, small h1. As you go from left to right, the height or the pipe goes on widening and it is at the height H2 from the same reference level. At right, it is horizontal with a uniform cross-sectional area A2. Now, as we are saying that as we are going from left to right, the pipe is widening. Okay, it is becoming wide. So the cross-sectional area at right we are considering as A2. Considering at A2. Now let us consider the shaded portion of liquid which is called as element, okay, or a liquid element at the left is having a mass of delta m and it is having a length of delta L1. Now this shaded portion, the portion which I have marked in a blue, okay, on the left hand side, this portion we call this as element which is having mass delta m. If you cannot see, it is written in the blue. And it is having a element or the length which is delta L1. Okay. Now let us consider motion of element. Now we are considering motion of this element from left as shown in the figure B. Now this is figure B. In this we are going to see the motion of that element delta m, which is having a mass delta m and length delta L1 on the right left hand side. Okay, it is moving towards the right hand side as we can see in this diagram. Now at the right, the length of element becomes delta L1. Okay, it was having length here delta L2. At the right, the length of the element becomes delta L1. Now let P1 be the pressure applied on the element delta L1. Now let this P1 is the pressure applied on the element of cross sectional area A1 on the left, as shown in this figure. P1 is the pressure applied on the left hand side on the area A1. So the force applied from the left hand side is P1 A1. Getting it? Let V1 be the velocity of the liquid at left. The element moves from left to right, and it also rises from the height h1 to h2. Getting it? We are shifting, or we are pushing this element delta, which is having mass delta m and delta length delta L1, towards the right hand side. Okay, so when it is moving from left to right, it is rising okay, from height h1 to h2. Okay, also the length of that element is changing from delta L2 to delta L1. Why? Because the pipe is becoming wide on the right hand side. And we also consider that let the velocity of the element, or the liquid or the fluid on the right hand side be V2. Okay, at the right, the pressure on the element is P2 and velocity is v2. Okay, these are all the considerations or prerequisites that we should know before studying the Bernoulli's principle. Okay, what we have studied here a tube of flow, okay, which is containing a steady incompressible non-viscous streamline flow, non-viscous streamline flow. Okay, now we are trying to push a small liquid element, okay, which is having a mass of delta m and length delta L1. On the left hand side, we are trying to push it to the right hand side. Okay, so when it is pushed, the length of that element becomes delta L2, and delta L2. Okay, and it's the velocity of the particle liquid molecules becomes v2. Okay, the pressure on the left is p1, which is being exerted on the area a1, and pressure on the right is p2, which is being exerted on the area a2. These are the prerequisites that we should know before studying the Bernoulli's principle. Okay, now here I have written all those things that I told you now. Okay, the considerations, what we have to consider before actually studying the equation. Now let us consider. Okay, now pressure applied on the element of cross section at left is P1, velocity of the liquid as left is V1, at right pressure is P2, velocity is V2. Now the work done on the element by the resultant force, it can be given by three terms now. Okay, the first term is the work done on the element of liquid by pressure P1. Okay, we are applying pressure P1 on the left hand side, so work done on the liquid element by pressure P1 is given as P1 A1 delta L1. Getting it? Delta L1 is the displacement made by that liquid element. Okay, now work done on the element of liquid by pressure P2 is given as minus P2 A2 delta L2. P2 is on the right hand side, P1 is on the left hand side. Okay, now why it is negative? Because this work done is in the direction opposite to the flow of that liquid element. Now third one is work done in lifting it against the gravity. Why lifting it against the gravity? Because at initially at left hand side, that liquid element is at a height h1 from the some reference level, and when it is moving towards the right hand side, it is rising in the height at height h2. Okay, so the work done in lifting it against the gravity is given as, or can be written as, minus delta mg h2 minus h1. Okay, it is negative because the gravitational force acts in the direction opposite to the vertical displacement. Getting it? Our liquid element is making a vertical displacement, but the gravitational force is acting in the opposite direction. Now thus the net work which is done on the element of mass delta m can be written or is due to all these three terms, okay, which we have seen earlier. I will number them as equation 1, equation 2 and equation 3. Okay, so the net work done on the element of mass delta m due to all these three terms is given as work done W is equals to summation of all these three terms, that is P1 A1 delta L1 minus P2 A2 delta L2 minus delta mg H2 minus H1. Okay, now A1 delta L1 and A2 delta L2, these are the volumes of the shaded element which is shown in the figure. Okay, I will take you back to the figure for a moment. Now here we have this is the element or the liquid element which we are trying to push, this one. Okay, so it is having a volume of A1 into delta L1, okay, on the left hand side, and its volume is changing to A2 into delta L2 on the right hand side here. Okay, its volume is changing into A2 into delta L2. So we write it down here. A1 delta L1 and A2 delta L2 are the volume of element on left hand side and right hand side. Okay, now if you consider like if rho is the density of liquid, if we consider rho as density of the liquid, then we can write down A1 delta L1 is equals to A2 delta L2 is equals to delta M by rho. Now what is delta M? Is the mass of the liquid element, rho is the density of that liquid. So we have again we have used here a relation of density is equals to mass by volume. So volume is equals to mass by density. Okay, so volume of the liquid element is A1 delta L1 on the left hand side, and it is becoming A2 delta L2 on the right hand side. Volume won't change, okay, because area is changing with respect to that the length of the liquid element is changing. Okay, according to that the volume will remain same. So that is why A1 delta L1 equals to A2 delta L2 is equals to delta M by rho is the volume of that element or the liquid element. So the volume of the liquid element will remain constant. So A1 delta L1 is equals to A2 delta L2 equals to delta M by rho. Okay, this is equation number 5. Now if you substitute this equation in equation 4, that is for work done. So work done can be written as P1 minus P2 delta M by rho minus delta mg H2 minus H1. This is equation number 6. Okay, now at the left hand side we consider that velocity of the liquid is v1, and at the right the velocity of the liquid elements is v2. Okay, so therefore there since the velocity of liquid particles is changing, so the kinetic energy of those the liquid element will also change due to change in velocity. So change in kinetic energy, okay, delta k can be written as half delta m v2 square minus half delta m v1 square. So this is the change in kinetic energy. Why? Because at left hand side we are considering velocity as v1, and on the right hand side it is we are considering velocity as v2. Okay, the velocity of the liquid particle is changing. Now we know that according to work energy theorem, the work done is given as the change in kinetic energy, which is so work done is equals to delta k. So we can compare these two equations, that is equation number 6 and equation number 7 we can compare. So work done is equals to change in kinetic energy according to work energy theorem. So by equating equation 1 and 2, equating equation 6 and 7, we get, what is equation 6? P1 minus P2 delta M by rho minus delta Mg H2 minus H1 is equals to change in kinetic energy, that is half delta M V2 square minus half delta M V1 square. So by rearranging these terms, we can write down P1 minus P2 upon rho minus G H2 minus H1 is equals to half V2 square minus half V1 square. What we have done here, we have taken delta M common, and this delta M gets cancelled from all the terms. Now again rearranging this above equation, what do we get is P1 plus rho GH1 plus half of rho V1 square is equals to P2 plus rho GH2 plus half rho V2 square. What we have done here, we have taken all the terms with subscript 1 and subscript 2 on the respective sides, that is the left hand side and right hand side. Okay, or we can also write it down as P1 by rho plus V1 square by 2 plus H1G is equals to P2 by rho plus V2 square by 2 plus H2G. Okay, since the subscripts, that is 1 and 2, which we have used here, they refer to any two locations along the tube of flow or a pipeline. Okay, now these subscripts are giving us the two different locations along the tube of flow or the pipeline. So we can drop those subscripts and we can also write down this equation as P plus half rho V square plus Hg, rho Hg is equals to constant. Okay, so this equation, that is P plus half rho V square plus rho Hg is equals to constant. This equation is known as, if I number this equation, it will be equation number 8. Okay, so the equation number 8 is called as Bernoulli's equation for steady, incompressible, non-viscous and streamlined flow. The total energy per unit volume remains constant at all the points in the path of the flow of a fluid. Now this equation is can also be written as we have written previously, P upon rho G plus V square by 2G plus H is equals to constant. Now every term in this equation has a dimension of length. Okay, and it is called as head. Every term has dimension of length and it is called as head. So this first term is called as a pressure head. The second term is known as velocity head. The third term is known as elevation head. It is the height. Yeah. So in this way we can derive Bernoulli's equation or the Bernoulli's principle. Now in the next lecture we are going to study certain applications of the Bernoulli's principle. Thank you.